this is a video from Abyssal Detective, who I am subscribed to. So, because they give some really cool content, I think it's actually nice to look at and react at. So we're going to be reacting to the most disturbing encounters caught on camera iceberg. Internet iceberg, I'm assuming. So, that's a good point. I should probably take a look at the audio and make sure it works. Either ways, ready? YouTube? It's probably going to be on YouTube. I'm assuming. I'm recording right now, so it only makes sense. All right, let's go. Yeah. Flashing lights. Be careful.
30 disturbing encounters, 7 levels. I spent countless hours
right now
on this iceberg to ensure it's exclusively made up of the most terrifying content humanity has to offer. We'll start with the strange and slowly work towards the most disturbing encounters on the iceberg. Let's start at the tip.
These are all caught on camera, so these are all real. 100%.
Shay Zonay.
Who?
On October 9th, 2017, Shay Zonay took her daughter out for a cute day together, spending a few hours at the mall. But when they arrived at the food court, their fun day was about to take a very sinister turn. Shay had been filming the entire adventure, which she later uploaded as a 22.5-minute video, including an extremely unsettling, disturbing encounter. At the food court, Shay allowed her daughter to go play in the play area with all the other kids. But while she sat with the other parents, Shay started to notice something strange and kind of unsettling. An odd-looking man was hanging around the play area, looking right at Shay's daughter, along with two other little girls who were there with their mom, but no fathers. Initially, Shay assumed that maybe this man was the father of one of these children. But the more she watched her daughter play, the more she noticed that this strange man was pacing back and forth behind her, as if waiting to do something very, very sinister.
All right, I just want to put this out there right now. Not every man at children's playgrounds is a predator. A lot of the times, dads get a bad stigma on that. Dads are just there taking care of their kids, watching their kids, all that stuff. And then they get fucked over because women come up to them or call the cops on them because they don't look like they're the father of anyone there, even though they are. But this is incredibly suspicious. So, I'm not saying that's what it is, but that sounds like what it is.
And that's when Shay knew she had to step in and get out of there. Shay rushed in, picking her up and deciding that they had to go home right away.
Was it proven afterwards, though?
Obviously, her daughter was disappointed, but the risk and threat to her life were too significant to ignore. But when they left the mall, Shay realized that the creepy guy was following them. The man had come out of the mall just after Shay and her daughter and settled down on a bench to watch them pack up and leave. Fortunately, the man didn't do anything. He didn't make any move or threaten anybody, ultimately going in a different direction. But
was it? Oh, man. Can you imagine if they actually didn't mean... Because, again, this shit happens all the time. You know, you leave to go do something, but then you're following behind someone in a vehicle so long that it's like, oh, man, they probably think I'm following them or something. That's so funny. But then, if you think about it, they're actually like, dude, are these fucking guys following me or some shit? But, yeah, thankfully nothing bad happened. I hope it was nothing bad to begin with. But if they're pacing back and forth behind them without children and also following them out, you know, it's starting to look a little suspicious here. I feel that way all the time when I'm driving. Yeah, I know that I do it a lot. I'm like, nice. I hope they don't turn where I'm turning. Oh, there they go, turning where I'm turning. Son of a bitch.
Shay was creeped out by him and his totally unreadable motive. It's possible that had she not moved quicker, something very, very bad could have happened here.
Or nothing, I don't know. Bear charge. Uh-oh.
On July 5th, 2020, Vahid Karlsberg, a Swedish YouTuber, posted a video to YouTube. He wanted to share an experience he had on a mountaintop in Swedish Lapland with his dog Riley. Vahid had climbed to the top of the mountain for a camping adventure in the snow, but what began as a beautiful outdoor adventure of fishing and camping turned into something much more
That in
dramatic.
Sweden, they said?
At first, the video showed them enjoying the peaceful atmosphere and the environment with some calm fishing. But as the video goes on, the tone starts to shift.
Not the right bear.
Suddenly,
He's drunk as
Vahid
hell right
notices
now.
something strange in the distance. It's a bear, but it's much closer than it should be. Usually bears in this part of the world avoid humans, but they're notoriously unpredictable, and Vahid knows that. Suddenly, he realizes the seriousness of the situation, especially when the bear starts to approach the campsite. It's clear to see Vahid's growing anxiety and desperate efforts to control the situation and minimize any damage that could arise.
That's a fucking brown bear, too.
Charges at the campsite, escalating the situation from just risky to outright deadly. The bear presumably thought that Vahid or Riley was a threat to his dominance and decided to attack before he could be attacked. But
or maybe it
Vahid's
was hungry
survival
and needed
instincts
food
kick
right
in
away.
Just in time. Vahid knows that loud noises and confidence signal to the bear that the human is not prey. So he grabs rocks and starts throwing them at the bear while yelling, which turns out to be just enough to stop the bear from charging.
Make it enough trouble so that the bear doesn't want to go and take you down, because you're too much trouble for it to even try to eat you. Bears are fucking terrifying, dude. Because a bear will literally eat you before it kills you. It will eat you alive. It doesn't fucking care. It will peel the flesh off your bones and eat you, with you being alive, feeling every single part of it. It's horrifying. Bears are dangerous, dude. Be careful. If you're going to be camping, bear spray or, any kind of defensive mechanism against bears is incredibly useful. Do not go camping without it, especially if you're in an area that has a lot of bears. Bears try to get food often. The more often they get fed, or knows some campsites often have food there. Yeah. I don't know if he's in a very well-known camping area, though. Maybe he is. That's probably maybe another reason why the bears are there. But bears tend to ignore humans, too, though. For, when there's a large group of people together, bears tend to just not like that and go a different direction. I don't know. Maybe.
The bear retreats back into the woods, leaving Vahid and Riley to process what they just witnessed. This could have ended much differently had Vahid not thought on his feet. It wouldn't be the first or last video where an innocent camper got killed by a bear because he underestimated the danger he was facing. Stealth Camper stalked. The Northwest Wind is a YouTuber known for his love of stealth camping, a kind of camping where people try to slip under the radar in their camping spots. But tonight, his video was going to go very, very wrong in an unbelievably unsettling way. The Northwest Wind was stealth camping in a rural forest in the northwest of America, trying to slip under the radar without anybody noticing that he was there, as per usual. But when he pulled out his phone to start recording, he noticed a light shining in his direction.
Oh, wait.
He knew immediately that this was not a good sign, but it was about to get worse.
He was infiltrating?
Very intense,
maybe.
Very quickly. Outside his tent, he could hear people speaking, saying aggressive things, threatening him, harassing him. One of the worst possible situations for a stealth camper to have to endure.
I don't know if they could see it or not through the tent. I don't think so. I'm leaning right up against the light, but somebody's walking around out there very close to the tent.
He knew that the situation was about to turn very, very nasty if he didn't do anything. So he did the only thing he could think of to calm the situation and not escalate it anymore. He ran. Holding his phone tightly, he recorded the entire encounter, abandoning his camping gear and fleeing into the darkness. The video is too dark to make out who might be hunting him down, but the terrified desperation in his voice can't be ignored. But then, he trips and falls at a horrible moment just as the camera cuts out, leaving us unaware of what happens next. Of
Oh,
course, we know
very
that he
good.
managed to get away as he's
Good
continued to make
cinematography.
videos, but he's never actually spoken about who caught him, why they chased him, or really what happened after this. All of his camping and video equipment was lost, but in fleeing the scene, he may well
Huh.
have saved his life.
Jeez. They took all his stuff?
Level 2.
Oh boy.
Woman in the Road.
Woman in the
On
road.
June
That's
2nd,
horrifying right away.
2018, around 1:46 a.m., police in
depends.
Texas were on a routine evening patrol with their dash cams on. But Sergeant Scott happened to notice a very unusual situation. The car ahead of him inexplicably swerved and braked in a highly erratic way.
Ooh.
Initially suspecting that the driver may be under the influence or maybe even having a medical issue, Scott was ready to pull over.
Yeah, they're like
Then he
halfway
noticed
into
that
the
car
road.
had actually reacted to what seemed to be an object lying in the middle of the road. It looked like nothing Scott had seen. But as his car got closer, he realized that
What
it
kind of
was not
iceberg
an
is this?
object.
It is the most disturbing encounters caught on camera. Iceberg.
It was actually a woman. Her body was just laying there on the road, lifeless and asking for trouble. Obviously, he had no choice but to pull over
Were they
and check
dead?
it out, hoping that she wasn't dead, or that he could do something to avoid a serious accident. Fortunately, she wasn't dead. By
Just
the
very
time
drunk.
Sergeant Scott got there, he could see that she was just unconscious in the worst possible place. But now he
Yeah,
had to
no
find a way
kidding.
to get her out of the road and away from danger. After waking her up, he managed to get her on her feet and tried to move her out of the way of the dangerous oncoming traffic. But it was clear that the woman was drunk. She had been
Okay,
behind
yeah.
the wheel, unable to
Incredibly
drive the car
drunk.
with any coherence.
Is why the hell
Her
would
erratic
you
behavior ended with
just
the car
lay
being
down
run
in
into
the
a
middle of the
nearby
road?
ditch before she got out and walked back to the road. But her drunkenness got the better of her, leading her to pass out in the street just moments later. It was fortunate that Sergeant Scott got there when he did, as multiple cars got dangerously close to hitting
Yeah, no
her.
kidding.
If
That
they
almost got
hadn't
her head.
swerved, she would
It's at night too. Man, someone could be not paying attention and just lop her fucking head off. Holy shit. That's crazy. So yeah, drink in moderation, everyone. I think that goes without saying.
would certainly have been killed by the impact.
Yeah, no shit. Holy fuck.
Motorcyclist saves pink-haired woman.
Pink-haired
This
woman.
biker
Uh-oh.
was going about his business, preparing to make a delivery when he noticed a pink-haired woman rushing toward him, followed by a shady-looking and clearly agitated man. She's distressed, begging the biker to help her. Even in the footage, her distress is clear. This guy is not in his right mind. He's been chasing her for some time, and he was yelling
clearly.
something incoherent that was sending her into panic. It's obvious she had no clue who he is. But she had just found the one guy who was willing to help her. He could read the situation
Yeah, the right
instantly,
time,
and
too.
he was
Doesn't
not
look like there's
prepared
anyone
to
else
let it
around.
continue. As the man got closer to the bike, it became clear that he was on some kind of substance or drunk, totally incoherent and rambling, and a clear danger to himself and to others.
Again, drink in moderation, everyone. And don't do drugs. I can't believe I'm the one who has to tell you guys this. I'm not your parents. But I am your friend. So please be careful.
He wasn't making any sense and seemed agitated by the fact that this girl had walked away from him.
That
The
looks
biker
ready
knew
to throw
exactly
hands.
how to handle it. The biker told the man that she was his girlfriend. A pretty obvious lie, but an easy way to defuse the situation and shut down any aggression. The man was determined to make his point, but the biker refused to give in, calmly insisting that the man go away. And it worked. The man gave up fighting against the biker's wishes, choosing to wander off into the night
Oh,
rather
man,
than
the
continue a
timing
losing
on that.
battle. As soon as the man left, the pink-haired woman thanked the biker with a hug, knowing that he had likely just saved her life from who knows what kind of danger.
Man, she had found him just in time. The entire area is completely empty right now. Holy shit. They didn't punch him already? Well, not the biker guy, the other guy. Well, to be fair, yeah, maybe they would have. They don't seem to have their senses about them right now.
Attempted kidnapping in alley. The
Oh,
security
really?
camera angled into an alley usually doesn't give much in terms of interesting footage. But this one was truly something to behold, with the owners of the camera never expecting to witness a miracle like this one.
Huh.
At first glance, this footage makes absolutely no sense.
Oh, wait.
This young girl in the red coat
I feel like I
seems to be
remember seeing
waiting
this one
for
before.
something. Maybe a ride or a friend or something, but suddenly
Yeah,
she
no.
bolts off camera
And
as if she's
this just
visibly
happens
terrified
out
of
of
something
nowhere.
she
The
just
dog
saw out of
comes
frame.
in.
When the owner of the camera first saw the footage, they had the
Yeah,
same
the dog is
confused
trying to save the
reaction.
girl. I remember
What did she
this.
see that gave her such an intense fright?
Yo.
So they rewound the footage back to the beginning, hoping to try and make sense of it. That's when it all fell into place.
Yeah.
The girl had been walking down the alley alone, likely heading
God, I
home, when
remember
a car
this one.
suddenly pulled up beside
Dog's an MVP in this clip. Oh my god. That's why having a dog is always a good idea. It's not even her dog, for crying out loud. The dog just sensed that something was wrong here.
her.
Dogs
Initially,
are so
she doesn't pay
good.
much attention to it, but the door opens and a hooded man in a mask goes to step out. He's obviously about to kidnap her, something that
Maybe
she
he's saying
also sees
something
coming.
or, you know,
She
being
starts to back
aggressive.
up, clearly
The
terrified
dog
of the
hears it.
situation. But just as the car is about to back up and make a second attempt at grabbing her, a stray dog rounds the corner and charges with some force.
Good shit.
He starts aggressively barking at the man in the car, scaring him enough to send the driver speeding away. The dog didn't belong to the girl or to the building or the owners of the camera. It
Which
was
is why it's so
truly just
crazy.
a stray dog that happened to arrive at the perfect moment and
Yeah.
became the hero of the internet. Had he not shown up at all,
Because you could see the dog just laying down on the corner of the street there. And then the door opens up. I guess the driver or passenger says something, starts getting aggressive. The dog hears it and runs right over to save the girl. That's insane. Dogs are awesome.
it's seriously unpleasant to think about what this poor girl would have gone through. And it's an absolute miracle that this dog knew what to do at that moment. But
Damn.
not as much of a miracle as it would be if you could hit that subscribe button. Let's keep moving to level 3.
All right. Enough chilling out.
Level 3. Masked Forest People. It was January 2015, and a group of film students in New Zealand were filming footage for one of their class projects near Auckland's Parnell railway station.
All
The
right.
footage wasn't anything particularly special, just authentic footage from the surrounding environment that they could use for their eventual project. But suddenly they noticed something strange and, frankly, unsettling. In the long grass beside the train tracks, they saw a couple, seemingly a man and a woman, both wearing creepy white masks. They weren't doing anything, just standing there, staring at them. It was a deeply unsettling thing to happen to catch on camera, and something that the students laughed off, convinced that this was a prank.
Maybe it
But
was,
then they started moving in strange ways, as if in formation. One of them climbed onto a nearby tanker and just silently stared. Suddenly, their laughter shifted to something much more anxious and nervous, unsure whether
Maybe
they
it
would
is
be
a
able to
prank.
make it out of this situation. But the
Maybe
closer
it's
she
worse.
got to the students, the more terrifying it became. The students couldn't keep an eye on both of them
Looks like
at
she's got
once.
something in her
Once they
hands.
got too close, the group decided to leave the location entirely.
Oh.
On the way home, they noticed a police chopper flying toward the location they had just left.
Oh, okay.
However-
Yeah, no, that's right. That'll do it. Jesus Christ. Is that a Michael Myers mask? Well, not necessarily. They're probably just, you know, the plastic masks that have the rubber band or whatever that you put around your head. That's probably what they are. Still, though. Hell, I don't even know if they're masks to begin with. Maybe they're just painted white faces. I don't know. Yeah. The woman looked like she had something in her hands. And, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they're still just stalking them, even though this is obviously not going to end well. Maybe a knife. It looked like a knife or a gun. I'm not sure.
The real terror came later. When the
Later. Oh,
students
there's
got
more?
back home, they looked over the footage they captured and found something truly horrifying. While they hadn't noticed it in the moment, they could see that the couple were seemingly holding something in their hands.
It does look like
That
a gun.
something looked suspiciously like a gun. One of
I'm not crazy then. I did see it. Yo, dude. They got super close. Holy shit.
Them seemed to be holding a pistol as she walked, something that's undeniable when you see the clip.
Yo.
It's not clear who called the cops, but this was not the first time the couple scared people in the community this way.
Is that right? They did it more than
Creepy
once.
elder.
Jeez.
In Mexico City, Maria, an Uber driver, arrived in a dangerous area of the city to pick up her passengers. But when she arrived, the passengers weren't ready to go, so Maria had no choice but to wait when she happened to notice an old man wandering around this empty street. After wandering around aimlessly for a while, he notices her vehicle. Suddenly, he starts walking toward the car, circling it for a little while before he escalates the situation, leaning in to stare inside right at Maria. But he doesn't seem to do anything else. Obviously, Maria was deeply unnerved by the whole thing, which is exactly why she pulled out her phone to record the weird behavior. Nobody would have believed her if she told them what she had experienced.
Like, why the hell do you go looking into other people's cars to begin with, right? Unless you're planning on doing something, or think that maybe there's something inside that you want. That's not something you would do. So this guy obviously had something that he wanted to do. It's fucked up.
But even though he was being exceptionally creepy, the old man didn't do anything openly threatening. He just stood and kept staring without any effort to interact with Maria. He moved around to look through every single window in the car, a seriously creepy thing to do with no clear motive.
Also, he's old, so maybe dementia? Maybe schizophrenic, I don't know. Probably not, but you can never rule out the possibility. That's just weird, man.
He wasn't trying to get inside, he wasn't trying to break in, he was just standing
and
that staring
too.
As though
like he's not even trying to open the doors.
Something. Eventually, Maria's passengers arrived at the location, ready to leave, but by then the old man was firmly fixed on staring inside the vehicle. Maria, of course, wasted no time. The second the passengers were inside, she sped off into the distance, leaving the old man alone and still staring blankly ahead of him. When the footage was uploaded, the internet was fascinated by the uneasy vibe of the whole clip. There's truly no rational reason for the old man to be doing this, yet he has no interest in stopping. It's highly likely he was on some kind of intense drug leading him to hallucinate something that wasn't there.
Maybe.
But that just means Maria and her passengers should be happy that the situation did not escalate. Ghost door.
Ghost door? Uh-oh.
Ms. Yara was minding her own business, feeding her baby on the couch while watching a movie. But suddenly, she noticed the kitchen door slowly opening on its own. Nobody else was in the house, there were no animals, no explanations for what could be happening. And that sent Ms. Yara into a serious visceral panic. Someone could jump out at any moment and possibly even kill her. Concerned that someone might have broken into her home, she stopped the movie and grabbed her phone, hoping to record whatever creepy phenomenon was happening before her eyes. The footage does pick up some creepy creaking noises that make it sound as though someone is wandering around the kitchen.
Oh my God.
It also captures the moment she begged for whoever it was to leave the house and not harm her or her baby.
Please
Tried to
go
tell
away.
him to go away and that it wasn't welcome.
Please go away. You're not wanted. Go away.
No.
Whatever you want, go away.
I don't want to go anywhere.
But there was no immediate response beyond the sound of the ice maker in the kitchen, confirming that something was going on. Ms. Yara felt a presence in the house, and she could hear noises as though something was alive in the room just out of her sight.
Maybe it
was. A dark,
was.
shadowy figure briefly appear before leaving the room entirely, as if...
And then maybe they opened the window and got in? And that maybe that's how they got out again?
Obeying her wishes. When the spirit was finally gone from the house, Ms. Yara looked back over the footage to see
It's very, very presumptuous of you to call it a spirit right away without having any other proof. Did she go in and check if there was actually someone in the room? No? Well, then how do you know? I think that's the main thing that people don't ask enough. How do you know? You should always be asking that. Because if you don't know, if you can't tell a good reason for why you know something, then you don't know. And you should try and find out. Yeah, and of course, some people just sit there and just wait for it to happen. Yeah.
if she had imagined the whole thing, but no, it was right there on camera. She uploaded the footage, hoping that people online would have experienced a similar situation. But most people who saw the footage were just shocked that Ms. Yara was brave enough not to leave her house.
What? She was so brave for sitting there, terrifying, shaking. Leave a baby at home. Defend yourself, your baby, and your home, goddammit. Exactly. She just stood there and filmed. What is your first reaction to this? Is to pick up your phone and film. Bro. I get it. Internet fame is very enticing. But you probably have someone in your house. And you should probably take care of that.
House. Sushi Potato groped in public. During a 2021 live stream in Tokyo,
Oh, okay. I thought that was Sushi Potato. What the fuck is that? I had no idea it was a streamer. You know what? Fair. That's a weird name, though, but fair.
Japanese Twitch streamer Sushi Potato encountered 3 male fans who requested photos with her. Initially happy to encounter her fans, she agreed while positioning her hand over her low-cut top for modesty.
Bitch, why are you wearing that to begin with? You're literally live streaming with your fucking cleavage bursting at the seams. Bro, why are you covering yourself now? You fucking idiot. That's on you, dude.
But one man demanded she remove her hand, and when she refused, another forcibly...
Hey. Whoa.
The camera captured her frozen expression as the group took pictures while she stood rigid, her jaw clenched and eyes wide. She had just been harassed in front of the world.
Well, yeah.
This violation occurred months after she suffered another public harassment incident. While live streaming in June 2021, Sushi Potato had...
Well, you gotta know, though. You're streaming with your tits basically flopping out. You're going to attract the wrong crowd. Why are you doing it?
Sat cross-legged on a sidewalk to chat with a stranger. As they listened to music together, the man suddenly reached toward her boobs. She threw water at him and forced...
What is this? Is fucking Japan? No. I mean, you're talking to a guy on the street, first of all. So, what are you doing? What kind of content do you do? Are you on Twitch? Why are you on Twitch? Fuck me. These people give Twitch a bad name. Holy fuck. You're doing it to yourself. You're going out to these places, talking to these random people, doing all the dressing like this. Like, what do you expect? For fuck's sakes. I feel bad for you getting harassed like this, but you did it to yourself. What did you expect? Some common sense is necessary sometimes. All right.
The scene before it could escalate further. Both assaults unfolded during street streams with the world watching, showing how bold and unashamed
so don't do street streams.
harassers
Just
were.
don't. Stop.
In the photo incident, the men
I don't know why people do that
smiles
to begin with.
throughout,
It's not that
treating
interesting.
the attack as a game, as if she had no real feelings or humanity about her. But in both
Well, yeah,
cases,
people are
Sushi
psychopaths
Potato
sometimes.
resumes the stream immediately.
What is this? Is that China? No, that's Japan. Based on that, oh, you guys can't see because the ad breaks in progress. But based on the wording, I think, yeah, that looks like Japanese. Matter of fact, just stay out of the streets, especially at night. Exactly. I don't know what the hell you're expecting going out there like that. That's on you at that point.
Afterward, but her voice can be heard shaking. The video later circulated internationally in 2024, falsely attributed to India until fact-checkers identified the Tokyo location through cinema signage.
Yeah. What? They said it was India? Bro. Do you not have eyes? It was pretty obvious it was Japan. I literally figured it out live on stream before anyone else said anything. What are you talking? Bro, my earphones are dying. God damn it. All right. I'm back. Let's keep going.
And verified Sushi Potato's streaming history. Bandit attack.
They needed the streaming history to figure out that was in Japan. Okay. Bandit attack?
On November 30th, 2018, Utah natives Bryant and Lauren Swenson found themselves navigating Kenya's rugged Kijabe Road, a last-minute route switch to avoid the blocked-up traffic on the main roads.
Okay.
Their Toyota Land Cruiser was also carrying fitness trainer Shiv Simani and colleague Collins Monde on a routine drive that turned lethal within seconds.
Lethal?
As they rounded a bend, they encountered a stalled public van surrounded by 3 masked men, bandits. 2 of the bandits brandished machetes, their blades glinting in the sunlight, while a third fumbled with a handgun tucked in his waistband. The ambush site had been strategically chosen. Potholes and rough terrain forced vehicles to slow, giving attackers an advantage. The Swenson's dashcam footage showed the robbers sprinting toward their Land Cruiser, weapons raised. Bryant slammed the manual transmission into reverse, buying critical seconds to roll up the windows as Lauren shouted, "Drive." The footage shows the bandits closing in, swinging machetes at an accelerating vehicle. But Bryant shifted gears again, lurching forward through a cloud of dust as their steel blades struck the car. The police opened fire on the gang just as they escaped the scene with their lives intact. Unknown to them, they'd passed 2 armed officers minutes before the attack but chose not to stop and pick them up, saving them from a potentially deadly firefight. Kenyan media later reported the ambush occurred along a known crime corridor, though the Swensons had no prior warning.
That's fucked up. That just happens.
Armed robbery in NOLA. It was February 10th, 2025, and a couple was walking through the dimly lit streets of Broadmoor, New Orleans, just after 9:30 p.m. This surveillance footage captures the moment that their casual conversation abruptly stops as a hooded figure emerges from a side alley, blocking their path with a pistol aimed at chest height. The husband instantly steps in front of his wife, moving them around the front of a parked car to shield themselves from any potential injury. But the assailant, whose face is obscured by a black ski mask, gestures violently with the weapon, suggesting he's demanding something. But the messy audio makes it impossible to know.
What you want, bro? What you want? What you want? What you want? What you want?
For the next few seconds, the gunman waves the gun around until finally the husband removes his jacket and hands it over to the guy. Satisfied with what he has, the man immediately flees the scene.
Honestly, though, in that situation, what else are you going to do? It's either you try and fight them and get shot, get killed, and then they steal your stuff off your corpse anyways, or you give them what they want, cancel all your cards if you have any, and call the cops right away. Like, there's not much you can do in that situation. You're gonna get shot. Much worse, whoever he's with could get shot. His wife or girlfriend. I'm not sure what the relationship is, but either ways, you don't fuck around with that. You can't afford to fuck around with that. Even if you have a gun on yourself, pulling it is just gonna make it worse. It just said husband. It is. I wasn't listening. I'm sorry. Oops, my bad. That's on me. But yeah, like still, even if you have a gun in that situation, pulling the gun is gonna make things worse. Either they're gonna shoot you before you can even pull it out yourself, or worse. Regardless, the right thing to do in that situation is just comply and then figure out a way to find them later.
The police later confirmed the weapon was a modified 9mm Glock with an illegal extended magazine, meaning that this encounter could have turned deadly had the aggressor followed through with their threats. Alyssa Vanilla.
Jeez.
Alyssa Vanilla is a solo female van lifer who uses her YouTube platform to document her daily life moving around the United States. But this encounter was far more disturbing than any other she had ever experienced. While camping in the remote desert outside Tucson, Arizona, an unidentified man in an ATV approached her campsite unannounced. He initiated a conversation by asking if she needed water, then casually revealed he wasn't a park ranger but a local resident. The man lingered despite Alyssa's guarded responses and clearly disinterest in talking to him, detailing his family life in a way that felt performative. He said his wife lived nearby and that she was welcome to come for a shower, but suggested she visit when he's home to avoid arousing any suspicion. When asked about her camping plans...
Alright, wait, what? You're welcome to come for a shower, he says. Really? Is that the thing you're gonna use that line? Specifically, word for word, verbatim? What the fuck, dude? Oh yeah, I'm just gonna walk up to people. Hey, you wanna come over for a shower? No. Jesus Christ.
He replied, "If you do stay, I'll see you again." A statement that sounded far more like a threat than anything else. Hours later, the man returned, but this time he claimed a stranger was watching Alyssa through binoculars from a nearby mountain ridge. He suggested that they should relocate to an exposed area he felt was safer. But that's a direct contradiction of basic safety logic for solo campers.
Yeah, no shit.
However, the most unsettling part of it was his description of the stalker. He said the guy was someone who checks if people have water, the exact thing he did earlier.
Why the fuck would you do that? Hey, you have water? You want to come over for a shower? I'll see you later. Hey, so there's a guy asking about water. And he's a stalker. What the fuck? You literally just gave yourself away, idiot. Like, what are you doing? You dingleberry. Go to jail.
Unnerved by the situation, Alyssa packed to leave,
David,
but the man didn't depart. Instead, he sat motionless on his ATV, hands gripping the steering wheel, staring silently and making no conversation while she dismantled her camp. Throughout the encounter, Alyssa maintained a calm demeanor while filming discreetly, capturing the man's shifting narratives and constant, unsettling presence until she could finally escape the situation. Attempted abduction.
Oh boy.
This footage was captured on the 6th train in the Bronx.
Man, this guy is the most... This guy is the most seen person anywhere. And of course it's the Bronx. But like... You see this man? Red means no. He is the red flag. That's crazy.
The train was almost empty as it pulled into the Morrison Avenue Soundview station, but this man in the bright red jacket was obsessively staring at a young girl asleep by the window. As the train comes into the station, the man leans in, gently nudging her companion, but the person she's with doesn't move. Taking this opportunity, the man lunges forward, grabbing the girl's torso and dragging her out onto the platform, kicking and screaming. As she causes a scene, passengers start shouting to try and draw attention, but the girl manages to break free and scramble.
What the f*** is the guy doing just filming? Why are you just filming? Someone almost got kidnapped right in front of you, dude. I don't care if you're a woman or a man. Someone is getting kidnapped in front of you. You tackle them. What the fuck?
Pulls back onto the car, screaming about the man that just tried to abduct her.
What the fuck? Fuck! Stop what you're doing! Fuck!
Even the other guy didn't do anything.
What the fuck? Bob, get the fuck up! Get up! You think he's trying to grab me? You think he's grabbing me at the train? Yo, the nigga just...
Ooh! There's no one here. I don't see anyone. Except for the big glowing red flag right in front of you. What the f***, dude?
The guy who did it.
What? Are you seriously questioning who right now? The only other person in this area. God, you people are fucking idiots. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I can't let that slide. You see someone getting kidnapped right in front of you. You tackle that son of a bitch. I don't care who you are. And then once they're free, you fucking gang up on them. 2 versus 1 is almost impossible for anyone. And she was just fucking sleeping. Jesus Christ.
It doesn't even try to run. He just sits there watching as the train leaves.
Yeah, because they know they're not gonna fucking suspect him. He's just a giant red guy. Like, what the fuck? What is wrong with these people? Holy fuck. Man, we're only 26 minutes into this fucking video and I'm already panicking. This is so dumb. This guy, he knows he can just get away with it. He's just gonna sit there. And they're coming out of the train car like, who did it? I don't see anyone. There's no one here. Who? Like, fuck off. You literally just fucking saw them, dude. They were in the same train car that you were. What the fuck? That's stupid. That is just genuine stupidity. I could have at least went over to her and woke her up, or at least sit with her. Yeah. Or I don't know about sitting with her, but like I don't know. If you go and sit next to her, that also makes you a little suspicious. But if you're doing it to prevent that shit from happening, all right, I get it. Just make sure that they're not alone. If you're ever in this kind of situation, and I'm not saying that all of you will be, but some of you on YouTube who are watching might be in places like this. If you're ever in a situation like this and you see a woman asleep alone, make sure she's not alone, because that shit's gonna happen. Yeah. That shit pisses me off so much, dude. Everyone is just filming. Oh, look at that.
Knowing that he was never going to get caught.
Yeah.
Or so he thought. His name was Sonny Alloway.
Oh,
and
yeah.
when the footage went viral online, he couldn't escape it. Outside of Bronx
You
Deli,
loser.
the locals recognized him and immediately decided to give him special treatment by beating him up. He insisted
good.
he didn't do anything, but police were on the scene to arrest him within minutes. Fortunately, the woman wasn't hurt, but she never formally reported the incident, leaving prosecutors reliant on the video and witness accounts. However, Alloway had a long criminal history,
that
including prior
looks
weapons
identical to him.
assault
So,
charges.
yeah, they got him. Good. Fuck
Carolina,
you.
Judah. A young TikToker,
That's
Carolina
awesome.
Judah, was walking home late at night when she realized that a man was following her through the foggy streets. She got on her bus home, but
It's so alright. There is so many of these just women being followed by men type shit. How many of these are real? How many of these are like actual men doing the thing that they're being, accused of doing? And how many of these are just men who happen to be walking in the same direction? Because I guarantee there's a lot more of those in real life than these. But again, these are those type of encounters, so I guess it makes sense. It's a very themed episode.
the man was still following her. When she got off the bus and continued her journey home, he was right there at every step of the way. And no matter how much she tried to ignore him, he was always there.
Why is it never the men being followed? Like, why can't men have scary videos? It's always just women. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Because it's a man. And if a man's being followed by another man, it's still kind of scary. I wouldn't want to be followed by a giant 3-foot man. Don't worry about that logic.
And always caught on her camera. Even when she started speeding up, it seems like he's chasing her, not letting up for even a moment.
Yeah, that's...
But suddenly the
yeah.
situation escalated as he began shouting something at her. Carolina couldn't make out exactly what he was shouting, but it was clear that he was behaving very strangely, as though he had been drinking or indulging in some kind of drugs.
Yeah, then he's shouting at you and everything, then obviously bad.
The second she turned the corner, Carolina sprinted her way home, determined to escape him.
Okay, no. You don't go home. If you're being followed, you do not go home. Don't let them know where you live. You go to someone else's house, either someone you know or a neighbor close by. Do not go home. Do not let them know where you live. Can't believe I have to tell this to people. I don't live in that kind of area, but I know that this is a bad idea. Common sense. Don't let them know where you live. The same thing with bullies. I mean, at that point, maybe they already know where you live because they're in the same class. But I'm just saying, if you're being chased by someone or followed by someone, don't let them know where you live. Yeah. Are the police stations that have night shift or something? That too. If it's nearby. There's only one police station in my town and it's nowhere near where I live, but yeah. Or just if there's a police station anywhere, then go there if you're being followed. If you know for a fact you're being followed. Like, she was being yelled at. She was being followed, intensely yelled at. At that point, go somewhere else. Holy fuck, dude. Yeah, a local police station if you're lucky. If there's anyone nearby.
She was not out of the woods.
No
23
shit.
minutes after arriving home, she heard the doorbell at the gate start to ring.
This. What did we just fucking talk about? What did we just fucking talk about? This. God fucking damn it.
She knew that he had found her home.
Yeah, because you let him right there, you idiot. Oh, idiots. Morons. I know you're panicking and you're like, you can't think straight because your heart's pumping a million miles a minute and you're trying to hurry up and get out of danger. But think for half a second. If you lead them to your house, do you really think they'll leave you alone?
Terrified of how unhinged this man was behaving, she called her mom, but her mom didn't pick up.
Why are you calling your mom? What is wrong with you? Call the fucking police! Oh, man. These people are gonna give me a goddamn heart attack. Holy crap. This is ridiculous. What the fuck? Really? Calling your mom. Yeah, great. Cool. I'm glad you and your mother are very close. However, I really doubt your mother has the arsenal of the fucking police station.
When she peered outside the window, she could see the man standing right outside her gate, as though waiting for her. Tired of playing her game, he jumped her gate and tried to open her door directly. Carolina locked herself in the bathroom, continuing to call her parents until they picked.
Are you fucking kidding me? This guy is literally trying to break into your house. Why are you calling your parents? Oh my god, some people just deserve to get kidnapped. Some people just deserve what happened, I guess. Holy fuck. I'm done. I have nothing more to say here. Stupidity can be rewarded by stupidity. This is just what? What do you want me to do? You've done all you can do. You've called your parents at least 5 fucking times. What else can I possibly do? Jesus Christ.
Picked up, allowing her to finally explain the situation. Eventually, he stopped trying to get into her home, but Carolina didn't move. She was afraid that it was a trap. Her parents eventually arrived, but the man was long gone. And when the video was uploaded to TikTok, Carolina was cruelly criticized by people who argued that she should have led the stalker to a well-lit, populated area. But given that there was no place left,
Not even that. Just don't even lead them to your house. Go somewhere where you know someone is there. Call the cops and then go home once everything is done. Jesus Christ. Ah, the stupidity of these people. Nobody ever calls the police in these situations. That's how these videos get made.
like that on her way home, her options were very much limited. There was nothing she could have
What
done.
do you mean limited? Call the fucking cops!
In 2022, a TikToker went on a late-night drive in
You have your phone. You are filming from your phone. You know how to call the cops, I hope? I hate it. I hate it so much. It's so obvious. Oh my god. Okay. Late night drive turned super spooky. All right.
a remote area of
Let's see
Belmont,
how.
Michigan, when she happened to spot a woman who looked like she was soaking wet on the side of the road. It didn't make any sense. It hadn't been raining anytime soon, and it seemed unlikely that this woman had come from any kind of home.
Maybe she soaked herself with a bucket of water? I don't know.
The TikToker naturally came to the conclusion that this bizarre situation must have been some kind of trap to get her out of the car and ambush her. She could be robbed or killed or something else altogether. So she decided to keep driving, but to call the police to inform them of the situation.
Not a bad decision.
When the officers
That's very
eventually
smart.
arrived at the scene, they found the woman on her hands and knees, still soaking wet. When they interviewed her, she was
Legitimately smartest thing I've seen this entire video. I gotta give props. This shit happens all the time. People get ambushed all the time. Don't stop, but do call the cops. Get someone over there. is Michigan, so she had to get wet somehow. I guess.
completely confused. She had no idea who she was, how she got there, or why, but the TikToker couldn't let it go. The next day, she drove back to the location and began looking around to try and figure out how exactly this woman could have gotten so drenched in such a dry area. She discovered a nearby river, which explains quite a lot
Well, yeah. She had to have gotten wet somehow.
about what happened. As it turns out, the woman was a missing person from Kalamazoo.
Oh,
She had no idea what had happened to her, where she came from, or even that she fell into the river or made it to Belmont. It was as though her entire week.
what is that comment? A spirit, I think she was drowned and left that was her ghost. What? They literally interrogated her at the police station. What are you talking about? Some people are just very imaginative, I guess.
Had never happened. Mom
Weird.
of 4. On February 10th, 2022, Calvin Crew climbed into Christina Spicuzza's Uber wearing a
Oh, shit.
hood and mask.
Okay, that's, again, Ubers that can go both ways. But a lot of Ubers have dash cams and stuff, so it's not necessarily a smart idea.
For the next 18 minutes, Christina's dashcam captured her trying to make casual conversation with a man who is clearly muttering incoherently. But then, he shifts to the center seat, yanks her ponytail, and presses a pistol to her skull. Despite the intense situation, Christina calmly begs him for mercy, explaining that she has 4 children at home. But Crew coldly replies, "I have a family too," before snatching her phone and ripping the camera from the dashboard.
Oh,
For the next hour, unseen by the severed cams, Spicuzza is forced to navigate deserted roads while Crew assesses her banking apps to steal her money. Detectives later reconstructed her final moments through GPS data and financial
no.
records, revealing transfers initiated under unthinkable duress. Her body was discovered 2 days later in a Monroeville wooded area, face down, with a single
man.
gunshot wound to the head and her COVID mask still secured.
God
The murder
damn.
weapon registered.
And some people are just fucking assholes, man. What leads people to do things so dumb? And I bet they got away too. Fucking hell.
To Crew's girlfriend was never recovered and remains lost. Investigators traced Crew through license plate readers, cell tower pings, and a fingerprint he left on the discarded dashcam. His girlfriend testified he'd used
Oh,
her
they found
account
him.
to order the Uber and later confessed to the killing during a FaceTime call. At trial, prosecutors presented the harrowing
Good.
video and testimony from Spicuzza's partner, who reported her missing when she failed to return home. On February 10th, 2025, exactly 3 years after the murder, the jury convicted Crew of first-degree murder after less than an hour of deliberation.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, I mean, at that
Level
point.
4. Home invasion.
Oh, now we're getting even deeper now. Oh, shit. Oh, God, I don't know if we're ready for this. We're like barely halfway through, dude. I'm already this riled up. Oh, dude. All right, let's go. Home invasion.
In 2015, a homeowner returned home in San Jose, California to discover that his door was open. Somebody
Oh,
had forced their way into his house, stealing some of his most precious valuables but leaving not too much damage.
No, not
However,
his
the investigating
PS5.
police strongly advised the family
And his
to invest in a
PC.
security camera system to protect themselves from any future incidents that could repeat. So they took
That
the
fucking
advice
sucks,
very
though.
seriously, installing a number of cameras to keep an eye on the situation. Months later, in that same year, those same
What?
cameras happened to capture one of the most horrifying, stressful situations the family had ever experienced. At 10:55 a.m., 2 burglars arrived at the house, walking around the back of the property,
Really,
and
dude?
discovering an
You're gonna try the same house again? How fucking dumb are you? Really? The same house again. Jeez. Also, I feel like my mic is peaking. I can hear it. Hold on. I don't like that I can hear that. Okay. I think we're good. Let's keep going.
Unlocked sliding door. They quietly slipped
Unlocked sliding door. You were robbed in the same year. You added security cameras. But you're not locking your fucking doors? What is wrong with you?
inside, unaware that they're on camera the whole time. They immediately went to the kitchen, taking a look around for anything valuable to.
They've clearly been here before. Like, they came in here like, yeah, I know the way, man. Come on. The patio door in the back's always unlocked. Yeah, that's how they sound.
Take
Anyways.
with them, and also to grab some knives in case they
And, like, not even, no masks, no gloves, fuck all. These are the stupidest fucking burglars I've ever seen.
happen to encounter an unfortunate member of the family. Like, for example, the woman who was home alone with her baby upstairs.
I don't like where this is going.
The two burglars severed the phone line, ensuring that the woman cannot call for help. But that's when they heard the noises of the baby upstairs. Immediately, they rushed upstairs, following the sounds to the woman's bedroom. But by the time they got there, the door was locked, with the terrified mother inside cradling her child.
Wait, when was this? You cut the phone line. When the hell was this? She used a cell phone. Ah, great. Now my mic is peaking when I'm too loud. Backtrack a sec? Where? How far? Backtrack a little bit here.
Who was home alone with her baby upstairs. The two burglars severed the phone line, ensuring that the woman cannot call for help.
Yeah, they severed the phone line. Hooray. Like the date this happened? I don't know if they ever said it.
Their way into his house, stealing some of his most precious valuables. Returned home in San Jose, California, to discover that his door was open.
Yeah, no,
Somebody
they never
had
actually
forced
mentioned
their
it.
way into his house, stealing some of his most precious valuables, but leaving not too much damage. However, the investigating police strongly advised the family to invest in a security camera system to protect themselves from any future incidents that could repeat. So they took the advice very seriously, installing a number of cameras to keep an eye on the situation. Months later, in that same year, those same cameras happened to capture one of the most horrifying,
never mentioned
stressful
it.
situations the family had ever experienced. At 10:55 a.m., two burglars arrived at the house, walking around the back of the property
just
and
time.
discovering an unlocked slide. Rushed upstairs, following the sounds to the woman's bedroom. But by the time they got there, the door was locked, with the terrified mother inside cradling her child. Fortunately, the lock was strong enough to hold. No matter how hard they tried to break down the door, it just wouldn't give. They couldn't get inside. And even if they did, the mother had locked herself in the bathroom. But then she revealed that she already called the police before they cut the phone line. Realizing that the cops were on the way, the men fled the house in seconds. Concealing the knife, they disappeared into the distance. Police report.
Yeah, but they're fucking, what a bunch of morons. Dude. Yeah, let's go rob someone. How are you going to hide your identity? Identity? You really think they can spot me in a crowd? Look at me. I am a tall Caucasian male. Do you realize how generic I am? I don't need to cover my face. Okay, well then how are you going to cover your hands for, if we're going to be stealing stuff? Cover my How dare you? To think you would have me cover these gems. How dare you? You're going to get us caught, you know that. Not a chance. No! Not a chance.
Reports later confirmed that one suspect surrendered himself to authorities shortly after,
I was probably the one who surrendered. Is it though? Wait, actually, I'm curious. Is it him?
revealing himself as a 17-year-old man. He was placed in custody.
No. You can't say that. You can't say that. A 17-year-old man? No. 17-year-old boy. You're not a man yet. I'm sorry. I don't care what you say. You are not a man yet, especially if you go out stealing from other fucking people. You fucking psychopath.
At juvenile hall. But the homeowner, despite being shaken about what happened to his wife, was relieved that the situation was prevented and publicly praised the security cameras for making justice possible.
And we'll never know if it was him that gave himself up. Son of a... That would have been such a good joke. All right, moving on.
Rachel Navarro. TikToker Rachel Navarro was in a very unusual situation in her new home. She had moved into her new apartment not long before the video, but there was a very unsettling trait that she didn't anticipate. She said she was just sitting alone watching something on her computer when she happened to notice something strange going on. The door was shaking and moving as though someone on the other side was trying to get in. When she looked through the peephole, she was convinced she could see someone on the other side, so she grabbed her phone, starting to record the entire situation as it unfolded. For hours, she had heard noises and bizarre movements going on outside. But whenever she went to check it out, she saw nothing outside. Nobody was around, and there was no clear source of the sound. When she called out, "Hello," all she could hear was the unsettling sound of someone breathing heavily on the other side. With the camera capturing every moment, Rachel decided she was going to open the door and find out once and for all. But once again, when she opened the door, nobody was there. The hallway was completely empty. The breathing and the shadow she saw through the peephole were completely gone. But the noise didn't stop.
Hold on. I'm going out there.
The video picked up the bizarre sounds of the extremely dark hallway, the strange whooshing or breathing sounds echoing through the pitch-black hallway. When she posted the video on TikTok, the responses were all overwhelmingly creeped out by what they were watching. While some were convinced that she had witnessed a ghost, others said that she was being stalked. But pretty much everybody agreed that the only way Rachel would be safe would be to get cameras, or, if she was really uncertain about what was going on, to contact the police.
Did she get cameras? Like, at the very least, because nothing happened, and you can't confirm that anyone was actually there. So I don't think calling the cops is a good idea in this situation. However, if you want to be sure, then yeah, getting cameras is a good idea. Then, once you're sure that someone is actually trying to break into your house, then you call the cops. I don't know if that's just my logic being maybe flawed, but to me, it sounds like good logic. That's for me.
Attempted kidnapping.
Again?
In New York, a group of kids were
Guys, you gotta stop kidnapping people. Everyone, internet, stop it. There's just a little tap on the wrist there. Stop it. Stop kidnapping people. My God. Unbelievable.
playing happily outside their home. But suddenly, a car pulled up and a strange man got out, opening the trunk of his car. This unfamiliar bald man started talking to them, approaching them and inviting them into his car. These kids were immediately unnerved by the creepiness of this man, and smart enough to know that if they get into that car, nothing good is going to come of it. They have to get out of this situation immediately. So they quickly ran up the steps to try and get away from him, hoping that he would take the hint and leave the scene. But even though the kids were fleeing into the house, the man had already committed. His trunk was up, waiting.
He's already committed his crime.
Around. He was not about to give up so easily. The surveillance camera captures the moment as he calmly walks up the steps, hands behind his back. He had no idea he's being recorded as he stops outside the door, peering through the gate. The man tries to force his way into the house, pulling the gate open and entering, but the kids had already locked it, protecting themselves from this seemingly
Smart kids.
deranged predator.
More than
He
I
cannot
can say
get
for other
in.
people.
He cannot hurt them. Angry, he tried to pull it with both hands, but the lock was too strong. These kids knew exactly who he was before he even opened his mouth. Now they were out of reach, and he was not going to get inside anytime soon. Half convinced they would just come back outside, the man hangs around by the gate, clearly frustrated and disappointed that he couldn't achieve his sick, twisted goal. He had acted too slowly, targeting the wrong kids for this to work. Eventually, realizing that the ship had sailed, the man had no
Jesus
choice
Christ.
but to get back into his car and leave the scene, presumably on the lookout for his next target.
Did they ever find him or no? That was attempted
Woman
kidnapping.
in the attic. For
Woman in
months,
the attic, hey.
Joe, a New Yorker,
All right.
was convinced he had a problem in his Fukuoka apartment. Every night, food was going
Japan?
missing. Rice portions shrank, snacks disappeared from sealed cabinets, milk cartons emptied overnight. He checked the window.
Oh no. Oh, he's got a squatter in his house.
The door locks and reinforced them, but it kept happening. He was sleepwalking and just couldn't remember what he was doing. But then the kitchen utensils started turning up in strange locations that made no sense. He started hearing floorboards creak at night. Half convinced he was going insane, he installed motion-activated cameras linked to his phone, scanning the feeds during work breaks. Weeks passed without any triggers.
A fucking
Then,
squatter in
a
his
midday
attic.
alert showed his living room TV flickering to life. And there, on the screen, he saw a woman in mismatched layers standing inches from the lens, methodically wiping crumbs from his coffee table. She was moving like a ghost. Security footage timestamped 3:14 a.m. captured her sliding vertically from a storage closet above his entryway. She rationed his leftovers, ate standing at the sink,
Now,
and
that shit's
scrubbed
real, dude.
dishes before retreating back into her hiding spots whenever she heard him. Daylight hours found her curled in the 60-centimeter wide closet space, surrounded by water bottles and a threadbare blanket. He couldn't believe that there was a woman living with him that he never even knew about. Joe went and reviewed.
That's not my girlfriend. Yeah, I think that's... we needed to clarify here. My girlfriend is not that creepy. I guarantee it. That's not my girlfriend. Just wanted to clarify. Wish I knew this woman's name. I lived with this woman for I don't know how long. But trust me, it's not as glorious as it sounds. Tell me you've never lived with a woman without telling me you've never lived with a woman. You wouldn't be able to because he already lived with a woman.
Older clips to discover that she'd laundered his towels and organized his shoes. She'd showered while he slept 2 meters away, with steam still fogging up the bathroom mirror at sunrise.
Bro, how do you not notice
discovered
that?
no forced entry. She didn't break in.
No, she was in the whole
woman had just
time.
taken advantage of an unlocked door a year prior. She left no fingerprints on valuables and no traces of her presence beyond a faint indentation in the closet's dust. When the police turned up for a surprise...
Like, what do you do in that situation? Like, you can't go to work or anything. You can't do any of that. You just live there. You're just waiting in the attic doing nothing the entire time? That's not a good way to live. Did she have a TV up there? Video games? Nothing? Like, what?
Surprise inspection, they found her nestled in the compartment. She apologized for borrowing warmth, explaining she'd timed her movements to his snoring patterns, monitoring his schedule through wall vibrations, exiting only for nighttime bathroom breaks in his sink. And Joe...
In his sink? Bro. Come on. Can't even use the bathroom? You can use his shower, but you're too scared to use the bathroom? In the fucking sink? Now imagine you do your fucking your dishes in the sink right after. You don't even know. A woman just came in and pissed in your sink. Some might find this enjoyable, but I certainly wouldn't. That's gross. Fucking disgusting.
never had any idea.
Jesus Christ, that's
Shadow in an abandoned school.
Oh,
YouTuber
no.
Chris made the brave decision to go exploring in an abandoned school at night.
Don't do that. Or stay on ground floor at the very least. But even then, don't do that.
Stories around this school had centered on some very sinister goings-on inside, including sacrifice.
I would love to go do that, though. God, I want to do that. I want to go explore haunted areas. I want to find other ghosts. I want to say hello, shake their hands, tell them my life story, and then fuck off. I would love to do this. God damn it. I want to find proof. You know what I mean? But, like, I don't want to go to places where the floor is obviously going to cave in. That place, that shit like that sucks. People get hurt in these places all the time. Don't do it. I'm just saying.
And worse. From the second he entered the school, the darkness and the quiet was terrifying, and every
Yeah, I
step
wouldn't be
was
surprised if
only
there were
making
squatters
his
in here, though.
anxiety worse and worse. But he wasn't about to stop. His breathing gets more and more intense throughout the video, but suddenly the vibe changes. He's convinced he can hear footsteps, someone moving around the building not far from where he is. But whenever he turns to the sound, he can't see anything. Chris continues.
Be aggressive people there sometimes that are homeless or criminals living in abandoned buildings. Yep, exactly. I've seen plenty of videos where there are just homeless people living in these type of areas because they can't live anywhere else. These have there's shelter. There's roof. They're indoors. They're safe from the elements. They may not have electricity or power, but it's better than living outside.
Continues exploring, determined to try not to
It's
let
a
it
perfect
get
place
him
for people to go
overthinking.
when they have
Then,
nowhere else
in a
to
moment
live.
of pure coincidence, he turns around and notices a shadow moving around. Yet when
A
he
person,
follows
you mean?
it, whoever there is gone. There's no door there to escape through.
There's a door right there,
He
you
saw it was
idiot.
impossible. There could not have been a human there, or he would have found it. Chris is so terrified by this point that he decides to climb to the roof to see more and catch a quick breath. He knows that if the police catch him, he's in trouble. And whatever is inside the school is so terrifying and unknowable that he doesn't want to hang around anymore. So he decides he has to leave. The night has scared him too much to push forward. Chris makes it out safely, but he'll never forget this encounter. When he uploaded the video to YouTube, his followers were all convinced that what Chris witnessed was not human, but a ghost or something far, far more sinister.
Why? How do you know?
Level 5. Woman attacked by tiger.
Oh,
On July-
is this like the lowest level? No, we still got more levels to go, bro. Holy crap.
July 23rd, 2016, a family touring Beijing's Badaling Wildlife World entered the Siberian tiger enclosure in their car. But Zhao Zhang was so irritated by her husband's driving that she decided she wanted to be the one to drive immediately. Security footage shows the car slowing to a stop near the dense foliage. Without any clear warning, Zhao climbs out of the passenger side, walks around the front of the vehicle, and opens the driver's door. She's tense and clearly irritated by the argument within the car. But just as she leans into the car, a 400-pound
Oh my
tiger
God!
leaps from the undergrowth. It lunges at Zhao, clamping its jaws around her neck and dragging her backwards into the grass. Her husband scrambles out, shouting, but freezes as the predator vanishes with his wife. Seconds
Holy
later, Zhao's 87-year-old mother, Li, bolts from the car in pursuit, ignoring the roars echoing through the enclosure. She just wants to get her daughter back. But there's a second tiger stalking the road.
There's
And as
another
Li
one?
sprints towards her daughter's limp form, which is now partially obscured. The second tiger intercepts her mid-stride and tackles her to the ground. At this point, you can see park staff in a patrol vehicle blasting air horns and revving their engines to try and stop the chaos. The attack continues for another 20 minutes. By the time the tiger...
20? What the f... Yeah, no, there's no way she survived that. There's no goddamn way she survived that. Those tigers just ended her. Holy crap.
were handled, Lee sustained catastrophic injuries to her face and neck, dying before the paramedics could arrive. But against all
The
odds,
tigers didn't even kill her. She died later. What the fuck?
Zhao survived. She had deep lacerations, spinal damage, and a permanent facial scarring, but she was somehow alive. Unfortunately, the family had signed a safety agreement that clearly forbid exiting in predator zones, though Zhao claimed.
So you knew. And yet, you still got out. So that's on you.
The staff failed to properly explain the rules. Zhao sued the park for inadequate emergency response and insufficient warnings, but the park faced no legal liability, citing clear negligence by visitors.
No
Tommy Braley found.
You signed an agreement to say, I will not exit my vehicle in predator zones because fucking predator zones. You know, it's not that hard to understand. It's not like you needed to be fucking told to you like a toddler. Yes, predator zones are bad because the predators can hunt you down like the prey that you fucking are. Yeah, that's fine and all, but I don't understand how that applies to me specifically. No. You don't understand. You must stay in your vehicle or you will be fucking killed. Yeah, I get that, but what if I didn't? Okay, you deserve to die at that point. Like, seriously, what the fuck? Maybe don't stop car there and change seats in a way safer place. Yeah. I mean, but she was so completely angry and oh, the driving is so bad. Just fucking get over it. Oh my God, you're in a predator zone right now. Just wait till afterwards. And then change drivers. Like, fuck, does it have to be done now? Tommy Braley found. I don't know who this is.
On August 25th, 2017, Tommy Braley left Brewer's Bar and Grill in Sumter, South Carolina in his silver BMW 325i and vanished. For the next 7 years, his family clung to fragmented hopes. Was he alive somewhere? Why had no trace of the car surfaced? Described as the glue of his family, Braley's absence left a void, with relatives organizing searches and pleading for answers.
Did they ever find him, though?
They got none.
God, I
for
hope
years.
so.
In late December 2024, scuba divers Adam Brown and Jason Sorada arrived in Sumter armed with sonar equipment to scan the waterways near Crestwood High School, a route Braley would have taken home. The team focused on a small creek off Highway 401, which had never been fully explored in the investigation. Hours of methodical scanning led to the discovery of a faint outline. A vehicle submerged 10 feet below the surface. A BMW.
It crashed in his
Authorities were
car.
immediately alerted, and a tow truck hauled the waterlogged BMW out of the creek. It matched Braley's car exactly, and inside, slumped in the driver's seat, were skeletal remains. The Braley family had to wait for confirmation, which only made the anxiety even worse. But dental records confirmed the worst. Tommy had been in the car all along and had just never been discovered. But now there were even more questions. How had the BMW remained undetected in a shallow, publicly accessible creek for nearly a decade? Why had earlier searches
10 years, dude.
Adam Brown later reflected on the proximity of the site to Braley's home, saying that it was a tragedy that such a short distance had separated the family from the answers they deserved. However, investigators haven't discussed potential causes of death or how the car entered the water, leaving the final moments of Braley's disappearance an unsolved mystery.
And they don't even know. What the
Wanted man attacks young girl. This 13-year-old girl was on her way home, unaware that she was being followed.
That's a house. It's not a girl, it's a house. You should be pointing the other direction. Sorry, I'll shut up now.
Creepy man.
Bad joke.
But the whole thing was caught on security camera, and nobody could have expected the direction the encounter took. Seeing an opportunity, the man approached the girl at her front door, claiming that he was lost and needed help finding his way home. But the girl knew something was off. She immediately rushed into the house, but couldn't move fast enough. The man forced his way into the house, determined to attack her and finish what he started. But as soon as he grabbed her, the girl fought back, slapping and scratching his face before he eventually let go. When he realized the house was full of cameras aimed right at the spot where he attacked the girl, he started to panic, fleeing the house entirely. The girl immediately called her dad, informing him of what had happened, and he rushed home to check on her. A police investigation confirmed that this man was already wanted for trying to assault a woman at a shopping mall just a month earlier. If she hadn't thought as quickly as she did...
wait, were they in the same area, though? Like, you're trying this again? What? Why? Get a life!
Subjected to even more harm and never got the justice she deserved. Level 6. Vlad NCL harassed. Vlad NCL is a Russian YouTuber famous for his extremely unique social experiments. He dresses as a woman, adopting a much higher voice, and wanders the streets of New York City to see how he's treated as a woman. But one of these experiments got a little too close for comfort. Vlad was wandering the streets when a man suddenly approached him and said that she looked beautiful. Almost immediately, the man pushed into Vlad's personal space, insisting on buying this woman a drink. Even though she said no, the man refused to give up. Suddenly, he insisted that he liked this woman and wanted to get to know her more.
Then comes out with the low voice. Hey, no, leave me alone. You think they'll keep pursuing you if you do that? I don't think so. You literally made yourself a target, yeah.
More. Even though Vlad was giving off all the signals that this woman was not interested, the man continued pushing his face toward hers. And then he started looking as though he was about to do something very, very bad. No matter how much Vlad insisted on going home alone, the man insisted on going with her, even touching her without consent. Every time he went to kiss her or make a move, Vlad was forced to push back. But the guy even made it clear that her resistance and discomfort were only turning him on more. Frustrated that this guy was not listening when Vlad said to stop touching, Vlad finally pushed him with some force, catching him by surprise. But even that seemed to just make him more in awe of this woman. Eventually, Vlad managed to get out of the situation, but he noted in the video how unsettled he was that so many people went past and did not bother to help at all, suggesting that if something went wrong, nobody would have stepped in. Murder of Mirna Salehin. On January 6, 2016, 27-year-old Wayan Mirna Salehin, a recently married socialite and daughter of a prominent Indonesian businessman, arrived at an upscale cafe to meet her friends. The CCTV footage shows one of her friends, Jessica Kumala Wongso, arriving almost an hour early, securing a table and ordering a Vietnamese iced coffee for Mirna, alongside 2 cocktails. Before Mirna and her other friend Hani arrived at 5:15 p.m., Jessica positioned shopping bags on the table, partially obscuring the camera's view of the drinks. Mirna took one sip of the coffee, grimaced, and allegedly said, "It tastes awful." Suddenly, within seconds, she clutched her throat, convulsed violently, and foamed at the mouth as her body slumped to the floor. Hani and the cafe staff rushed to help, but Jessica stood motionless, repeatedly rubbing her palms and inexplicably accusing the staff of poisoning her coffee. Mirna was declared dead en route to the hospital, with initial autopsies suggesting cyanide poisoning despite conflicting toxicology reports. Unfortunately for Jessica, cyanide is known to be irritating to the skin, and she was caught on camera rubbing her hands. The grainy CCTV footage became a focal point of the trial. Everything that Jessica did before her friend showed up, adjusting the bags, handling her purse, and waiting alone with the drinks, was increasingly viewed as highly suspicious behavior. Prosecutors argued she used the bags to hide pouring cyanide into the coffee. Witnesses noticed how calm Jessica was during the chaos, contrasting sharply with Hani's panic. Something was off. But while Jessica was sentenced for the murder, the outcome was never fully determined. The lack of clear evidence meant that it was impossible to say whether or not Jessica was guilty or not, leaving it open to public interpretation.
That was all caught on camera.
Doreen Herbert.
Doreen Herbert.
Halloween night, 1984, Doreen Herbert, 8 months pregnant, stayed home with her 4-year-old daughter, Deanna, while her husband, Charles, left the house to make a quick errand. But during this time, a harsh knock at the door interrupted the evening.
Harsh.
When Doreen opened the door, she found herself face to face with a man in a cartoonish wolf mask wielding an 18-inch machete. She screamed at him to get out of the house, pushing Deanna behind the couch to protect her. The attacker used the blade to slash Doreen's abdomen with such force that blood sprayed the ceiling and walls. When Charles returned later, he found the front door unlocked and Doreen dead in a pool of blood, her left hand severed. Their unborn son had been expelled from her womb, laying nearby with a severed leg and fatal chest wound.
What the
blood soaked the floor, walls, and a grinning jack.
Man, fucking horror movies are one thing, but real life is brutal, dude. Nothing can prepare you for shit like that. Holy fuck. Who knows what the motive was, but it was a fucking murder.
Jack-o'-lantern on a stool. Deanna was the lone survivor, telling her dad how the masked man threatened to come back and finish the job if she spoke about what happened. The police followed a blood trail from the Herberts' home across a pedestrian overpass to William Michael Dennis's neighborhood. They found him bandaging deep cuts on his right hand. Inspecting his house, they found that his garage washing machine contained blood-stained clothes, and his truck's steering wheel was marked by smeared blood. A wolf mask, matching the one worn at a prior Halloween party and left at the crime scene, also appeared in photos inside Dennis's closet.
You know why he did it?
Receipts linked him to a machete matching the murder weapon. The evidence was overwhelming.
Yeah,
he also happened to be Doreen's ex. Dennis claimed he'd accidentally cut himself with a kitchen knife, but autopsy reports confirmed Doreen and the fetus died from chopping wounds inflicted by a heavy blade, and neighbors reported seeing a wolf-masked man stalking the Herbert Street earlier that night. When he was finally forced to stand trial, Dennis's psychiatric defense cited delusions stemming from his son's drowning 4 years earlier, which he inexplicably blamed on Doreen. But he couldn't save himself from justice.
Okay.
Kidnapping of Sarah Everard. On the evening of March 3rd, 2021, Sarah Everard left a friend's house near Clapham Common, London, at 9:00 p.m. CCTV footage captured her walking alone towards Brixton, speaking to her boyfriend on the phone for 14 minutes. At 9:34 p.m., a London bus camera recorded her standing with a police officer near a white Vauxhall Crossland with flashing hazard lights. The officer was the off-duty Metropolitan Police Officer Wayne Cousins, who presented his warrant card and falsely arrested her for violating COVID-19 lockdown rules. He handcuffed her on the pavement and forced her into the vehicle. With his hostage in the car, Cousins drove 80 miles toward Kent, switching cars in Dover shortly before midnight. By 12:57 a.m., his phone was locating him in remote woodland near Ashford, where he raped Everard before strangling her to death with his police-issued belt.
Oy.
Security cameras later captured him at a Dover surface station at 2:34 a.m. buying drinks with nobody even thinking to suspect that this man had a woman's body lying dead in the trunk of his car.
How the fuck are these people becoming cops?
A piece of land he owned, stuffing her remains into an abandoned refrigerator, dousing it with gas and flammable materials. Over the next 3 days, Cousins maintained his routine, attending a dental appointment with his children, emailing his supervisor about his work stress, and returning to the woods to incinerate Everard's body to fully remove any evidence that could be traced back to him. On March 5th, he purchased builder's bags from B&Q, using them as weights to submerge her charred remains in a pond. It wasn't until later, when investigators traced his movements through all of these cameras, that they saw the true extent of what he did and caught him on camera disposing of Everard's phone in the River Star. Sarah's family reported her missing on March 4th. By March 10th, dental records confirmed her identity after police discovered the bags in Hode's Woods, all but proving that Cousins was responsible. To defend himself, Cousins initially fabricated a story about Eastern European gang coercion. but cell site data and DNA evidence, including his semen and her blood in his car, left no credible innocent explanation. Caught out, he pleaded guilty to kidnapping and receiving a rare whole life sentence for the depravity of his crimes.
No parole, I hope.
Level
That's
7.
Fucked up.
The Sushi Stalker.
Sushi Stalker.
In 2004, Rie Miyoshi began dating Hideto Kozutsumi, but by 2006, she ended the relationship due to his increasingly unsettling behavior toward her. Even though the relationship was over, Hideto was far from happy with it. Over the next 4 years, Hideto's fixation only
he looks like he just fucking got unhinged.
In 2010, Rie reported him to the police for relentless stalking and threatening emails, which included words like, "I'm definitely going to kill you." Yet,
yeah, that'll get you
despite
arrested.
Her pleas, authorities took limited action, arresting Hideto only in June 2011 under Japan's anti-stalking law. He received a suspended sentence for his actions. But unbeknownst to Rie, critical mistakes were unfolding. During Hideto's arrest, police accidentally disclosed her new married name and address while reading the charges against him. He immediately used the information to his benefit, hiring a private investigator who tricked Zushi city officials into revealing her location by posing as her husband. These breaches handed Hideto the tools to hunt down the woman he believed was his. After his release, the harassment continued at an alarming speed. Between April and November 2012, Hideto bombarded Rie with over 1,000 emails demanding monetary compensation for her breach of contract after she married another man. Increasingly scared for her life, Rie returned to the police, but they dismissed the emails as non-threatening. They were wrong.
Non-threatening?
November 6th, 2012,
What do you mean non-threatening?
Hideto arrived at Rie's Zushi apartment while her husband was at work. There were no signs of forced entry, suggesting she might have opened the door under duress or intimidation. But as soon as he was inside, Hideto stabbed her repeatedly, killing her. Rie dead, he hanged himself from her second-floor balcony. By the time police found Rie's
so we
phone,
can't even punish
her
him.
inbox was filled with unanswered emails, many repeating the same demands. The tragedy exposed a series of systemic failures in Japanese law enforcement.
Yeah, no shit.
Lax enforcement of stalking laws, careless handling of victim information by authorities, and loopholes allowing perpetrators to exploit third parties.
I bet
like
they
private
looked and
investigators.
fixed all those issues right
Rie's
after, huh?
attempts to rebuild her life were futile because the system had no interest in protecting her. If you're a fan of disturbing encounters, you need to check out this video.
Damn, dude. That's fucking crazy. These videos are... This is why I wanted to watch this shit with you guys. These videos are super fucking interesting, man. Like, a little brutal, but pretty interesting. Jeez. Man, some people are just fucked up, man. Some people are fucked in the head and you can't do much about it. There's always anomalies. God damn. It started off like, obviously it starts off like really nice and chill, mostly. But then it becomes really fucked up near the end. A lot of these videos are like that, which is nice. I appreciate them. So yeah, Abyssal Detective. Real cool. We might do this again more often. But, I hope you guys had fun with that.